I'd like to call the Transportation and Environmental Services Committee meeting to order and welcome those that are with us on the webcast. I would first ask council if you have a declaration of pecuniary interest that you declare it now or at the appropriate time. Seeing none, we'll move on to action items and A, policy on urban road reconstruction cost sharing with lower tier municipalities. The package is, or that policy is attached, and Miguel, do you have any comments? First, let me read the recommendation that the county adopt the policy on urban road reconstruction cost sharing with lower tier municipalities. Could I have a mover? Mitch, seconded by Ann, and now discussion. Any comments?
What is the noticeable change in the policy? Why are we upgrading this?
There's no real noticeable change. What happened is that we didn't have a policy, so now by having one, it's going to make things easier when we talk with lower tier municipalities that we have a starting benchmark to negotiate and talk about the sharing costs. So by having a policy, it sets things up so that it's a starting point for discussion.
So the change in the policy really is that we have a policy now.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, and thanks, Mr. Chair, that's it, yeah.
My only comment would be just to share this with our lower tiers, make sure they get a copy of it right away. So especially with budget season coming up, then the expectations won't be there and they know clearly, or we know clearly what is expected.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Yes, Mike?
I'm having some trouble finding it, but I know there are a couple of references to the official plan in it, and I guess we need to do that. I don't know, I struggle with the policy cost. It talks about extending services where we don't have them, and I'm not going to say much more about it, but it's just a note and a reference to it, and I'm sure we do that, but I think sometimes we complicate it by going through that planning process with some of our projects.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Item B, the former Bruce Road 1 stopped up and permanently closed. That's for the reconstruction or the construction that was done on that corner. This is standard procedure. Any comments? I have a recommendation that a bylaw be introduced authorizing the stopping up and permanent closure of the former Bruce Road 1 road section from Highway 9 in the hamlet of Kinloss, northerly approximately 564 meters and described as parts 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 being part of PIN 332310001 on registered plan 3R 10097. I have a mover and a seconder. Ann and Mike. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Item C, the County Road 3 at Highway 9 intersection improvements. That is in your package as well. There is a recommendation. And the recommendation that the director be authorized to investigate the potential improvement to the intersection of Highway 9 North and Bruce County Road 3. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Robert, seconded by Milt. Discussion. Comment? Yes, Mitch?
Would there be a chance of putting a roundabout there?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Right now, it could be a possibility. As you noted in the background, it's just that I had a call recently about someone talking about property in the area. So when I researched this, I found out that in 2013, my predecessor had asked for. Right now, the drawing that we show there doesn't show a roundabout, but that could be definitely be a possibility. Yes.
Just because I bet you with the new, there wasn't any reference to a new, or there was a new reference or car count or whatever, but I didn't see the numbers, but I'd be willing to bet it's probably doubled since 2013.
Yeah, so part of the process right now is, that's why since the first time around my predecessor asked the council, I figure I better confirm before I start working too much on this that I still have your support. But yes, if we'll go through new traffic counts, the numbers haven't increased that much. I think these are still representative. The issues were a lot with lines of sight as well. So, but if there's an opportunity to, and it's warranted, a traffic circle would be a good thing to have there, yes.
I was just thinking connecting links would maybe offset some of the costs, but anyways, that's my thoughts.
Mr. Chair, so in the past, my predecessor did talk to the MTO. As far as I know, they weren't willing to participate, but I will certainly go and see them again, either through connecting links or just Highway 9 is their highway, although the issue seems to be with the county road more than the highway, the line of sight issues.
I did spend some time with Brian out there back in 2013, and it was the province that was kind of holding it up. Brian was thinking about a stoplight in the correcting the line of sight, putting in a stoplight. A roundabout, I'm not sure. If it could be done, it would be great, but there's a business very close to the corner, and if you go into the land just south west corner there's a cemetery that nobody really knows is there unless you get out of your car and climb up the roadside bank and look. But there is a Brockton cemetery right on the corner. But roundabouts, they don't take up a lot of room when you see them finished. There's a lot more work putting it in, but when you see them finished, they're pretty compact and tight, so it might work. Yep.
Can you just show the map there, please, or whoever has control of that? Miguel? Just show the intersection. Right, okay, so the property you're talking about is? No, the property that we're talking about. That's the business on the corner up. So the property you're talking about is? That's in Cameron. Eh? It's in Cameron. Oh, okay.
This is the new line. This is the new line, so he's taking it away from business. That was
Mr. Chair, that was one proposal, that just to give you an idea.
All right,
It's
okay.
not necessarily the final solution.
Okay.
I'm not sure which line.
Yeah,
Are you sure this isn't the new one?
That's what I thought, maybe. The yellow one.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I guess maybe I'm confused here. I'm gonna have to review that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
Because the road that's there now it doesn't seem to curve that much, but you
No.
can't tell. But it does kind of curve as it goes towards the highway a little bit.
Yeah. But it's close to the business, like. Yeah.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Robert?
This was looked at in 2013. All these years have gone by. I think this is a high priority thing, and something should be done about this, because this is a very dangerous intersection. I go through there quite often, and boy, the near misses, and on Friday nights, especially in the summertime, the traffic's backed way up, the people are impatient, and like, there should have been something done about this intersection long before this, okay?
Okay, anything else? All right, I think I read that recommendation, and it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, the next action item, autonomous and connected vehicle testing. And I'm not going to read all of it, it's there. You've had a chance to look at the report. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Mike? Milt? Discussion? Mitch?
I think the warden should be in the back seat of the cars when they're practicing all this and testing it, so.
Any other comments on this recommendation? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, gap analysis, representative ecosystems. And for information. And we're going to have, yes, a
Okay.
report from, yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. In order to be compliant with our Forest Stewardship Council forest certification, it was necessary for the county to undertake a gap analysis of protected forested ecosystem areas at the eco-district level. And this was primarily a GIS mapping exercise that was done with the assistance of a senior analyst from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry. And when I say assistant, he did most of the work. What it was is Justin from our GIS department, he forwarded on the necessary shape files, and the work was really done in Peterborough, and then the results were sent back to us for an analysis. I would have included some maps with this, but they're raster maps. They're really not very pretty. They're just red blobs on a white piece of paper, and they're nothing good to look at. So, but Bruce County has 5 different eco districts within our boundaries, and an eco district is the third of 5 tiers in Ontario's ELC. That's the Ecological Land Classification hierarchy. Provincially, the Ontario ELC starts at the top with 3 different eco zones. We are in the Mixed Wood Plains eco zone. Then there are eco sections, followed by eco sites. We are in the Simcoe Rideau eco region of 6E, and then that's subdivided into the 5 eco districts that we have are 6E1 is Stratford, 6E2 is Kincardine, 6E4 is Meaford, 6E5 is Mount Forest, and 6E14 is Tobermory. So these eco districts are all defined by abiotic factors such as patterns of relief, geology, and the substrate parent material. So this exercise outlined how the protected areas within Bruce County Forest contribute to the overall picture of representative landform vegetative communities. So the landform vegetative community is essentially where the ground meets plants, where dirt meets vegetation. And so you take a picture, or you're studying what is there at that place. And that's why with Bruce County having the ecological diversity that we do have, there is an abundance throughout. So the analysts from the Ministry of Natural Resources compared the amount of the county's protected forested reserves as outlined in our 2002 Bruce County Forest Management Plan to the amount of protected areas contributed by other regulated areas within the eco district. The areas that he used were the ones that are from the Crown. They are Crown areas. They're either the park, or they're the Bruce Peninsula National Park, or they're wildlife reserves, but they were all Crown Forest. What I noticed to be a gap in this gap analysis was that he didn't include things that were from the conservation authorities, but being that they are also members of the Eastern Ontario Model Forest, they've also had to undertake this exercise. So they've done something very similar to this. So they have their results. It's just that our results weren't included with their results. So the minimum target of a land value to be protected was either 50 hectares or 1%, whichever was greater. This was kind of an arbitrary number that was decided upon. It's just because something had to be used, and so that's what they decided on. The cumulative total of the amount of protected area for each land value will dictate if the target has been met and if the county's protected area is considered critical to the target. So this was, the exercise analyzed how much area that we have protected in a certain land value, and if we either had 1% or 50 hectares, depending on what that minimum value would be. So for example, in one of our Kinloss tracts, which is located at concession 2, lot 16 and 17, it's just northeast of Lucknow, and it's located at the northern tip of Eco District 61, which is Stratford. That section of county forest contains a protected 2.34 hectare area of soft maple, for which the landform is a glacial fluvial delta with a treed swamp. The total area for that land value within Eco District 61 is 15,187.5 hectares. The required amount for that protected area to be 1% of the total would be 151 and change hectares. So the amount of that area to be protected means that target wasn't met, and that protected forest in Bruce County is critical. Now, this was a completely objective exercise, and whether or not we met these targets wasn't the point. It wasn't to point out anything particularly positive or negative. This was just a step that we needed to take in our certification. And it was just, but now it allows us to demonstrate in the future that there is an appropriate amount of protected forest reserves located within Bruce County Forest relative to our surrounding area. But if we didn't have any, that would have been fine. That was just part of the exercise that we needed to identify. We do have plenty. This was just part of the process. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Are there any questions? Mike?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Kevin, I'm trying to understand, I guess, what's the definition of protected and how is it protected? Is it through, I mean, you're saying only there's some significant 2.3 hectares of this maple stand in a larger piece of the property is protected, and how, so what is the mechanism that makes it protected?
Okay. Well, so these were all areas that were identified in the Bruce County Forest Management Plan that was written in 2002 as areas that were to be precluded from forest management, from active harvest. So some of these areas were either identified as ANSIs, as areas of natural significance, or some of them are just too wet to be operational feasible. Maybe the topography isn't operational feasible, or maybe it's just landlocked, it's inaccessible. So those areas were identified as just as an ideal area to protect. And that's why they've been set aside for various reasons. I didn't make the decision on these. I just took what was existing in the plan and put them forward.
So I think you've answered my question. It's identified in our forest management plan that
Yes.
this particular one is. It could be something else like an ANSI, which is protected under a different piece of legislation.
Yes.
So for this particular one, it's identified in our forest management plan.
Yeah.
And some of them, okay, that's all right, that's fine.
Yeah,
I was
it's-
just struggling with why the numbers were different and
Yeah, that particular property, I think it might be like a 40 hectare chunk, and within it, there's that 2.34 maple stand, and that's the protected area, but it's also surrounded by, there's a white pine plantation there, and then there's some mixed wood forest in there, and then that part is just what was set aside. And the reason why that it would be critical is because that eco region for Stratford, that eco district, is a lot of farmland, and there isn't a lot of protected areas for there, as opposed to our Tobermory region, which has an abundance.
I guess, I'm sorry if I might, Mr. Chair, I guess what it says about our management, if you can identify that 2.3 hectares in a bigger piece, you've done some pretty extensive work already on our forests. Pretty extensive inventory of what's in our,
Yes.
in the county forest, which.
Yes,
Yeah.
when they did that management plan, they did an extensive inventory.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think there's a motion for that, is there? No? All right. We will now then move into closed session. And I have a motion that the committee move into a closed session meeting to discuss the following matters pursuant to Section 239(2)(c) of the Municipal Planning Act 2001, relating to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board related to, first of all, Invermay property. Motion moved and Mitch. Motion to rise and report from closed session, Mike and Ann. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So we have one recommendation that we're going to vote on in open session. And it's this long one or the other, sorry.
Through you, Chair, if we could have a mover and a seconder for the motion.
Yes, we need a mover and a seconder for the motion. Ann and Robert, discussion? Yeah.
And if you could read the motion in open for us, thank you.
I have to read this, it is this long one. Yeah. I tried. That the 0.87 acres known as Plan 205, Part Lot 224, RP 3R 1248, Part 1, Municipality of Aaron Elderslie, 203 Mill Road, Hamlet of Invermay be declared surplus, and that the property known as Plan 205, Part Lot 224, RP 3R 1248, Part 1, 203 Mill Road, Hamlet of Invermay be conveyed to the municipality of Aaron Elderslie for $1, and that the county enter into an agreement with the municipality of Aaron Elderslie to outline each party's responsibility for the demolition of the existing structure and subsequent transfer of the property, and that a bylaw be introduced authorizing the warden and clerk to execute an agreement between the County of Bruce and the municipality of Aaron Elderslie outlining each party's responsibilities for the demolition of the existing structure and subsequent conveyance of the property known as Plan 205, Part Lot 224, RP 3R-1248, Part 1, Municipality of Aaron Elderslie, 203 Mill Road, Hamlet of Invermay to the municipality of Aaron Elderslie, and that the warden and clerk be authorized to sign the transfers, deeds of lands, as well as execute all other documents necessary to complete the transfer referred to herein. I think after that I need a stint. Okay, all those in favor of that recommendation? Yeah, we did have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Just on that matter of that, where the warden and clerk signed for the county, and then the mayor of Aaron Ellerslie signs for Aaron Ellerslie, is that an issue and it's the same person involved? I was thinking maybe, like, should we have maybe the deputy mayor sign on behalf of Aaron Ellerslie, or do you want to discuss that with Peggy and between the two of you can sort it out? I'm just wondering, is it a problem with the same signature representing each party?
We certainly can look into that. and go forward with Peggy.
Okay, I don't think there's anything more for this agenda. I have one more motion. That in accordance with the procedure bylaw, staff be authorized and directed to give effect to the actions of the Transportation and Environmental Services Committee in respect of all resolutions passed during the August 9th, 2018 meeting. All those in favor? I'll read them over in a seconder. Robert and Ann? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And our next meeting is September the 20th, 2018. Meeting is adjourned.